Quentin wanted us to have a little bit more fun with Pulp Fiction, and we were doing kind of LA underbelly, LA crime stories, and it's his turf. It's where he was born. He knows the city. We also know and love LA, so we had this common love or passion for Southern California. He kind of let us go with a few of the big sets, like the Jackrabbit Slim set. We integrated some of the, you can call it this Googie style, which was a vernacular only to LA at the time. It was these coffee shops that were kind of done outlandish architecture. And the whole reason for that was it was supposed to be in LA, which is a car culture. They were supposed to jump out at you, these oddball, buildings with roofs that kicked up and did funny things. And then we thought, well, let's do that with Jackrabbit Slims. Let's do the exterior was a practical location. It was a closed bowling alley that we put signage on and everything. It was a pure Googie style, almost atomic age parking lot, and that was practical. And then the interior was completely built from scratch, and we were influenced by John Lautner and Albert Frey. These were the big wheel architects that were doing these kind of crazy LA things at the time. And it just fit into all of our passion for trying to capture Southern California in a way that the rest of the country hasn't seen it.
Quentin did have a good paragraph in that script describing it, and that was based on things like there was an Elvis movie called Speedway.
Yeah, there were two movies, Red Line 7000,
Red Line, yeah.
And then Elvis Presley's Speedway, and
which actually had people standing in fake cars in a club.
Yeah, there were two parts of the club design that he wanted us to kind of copy, and Elvis Presley one had cars cut in half and dining tables fit into the cars. So we kind of stole that idea, and we actually did it. We took cars and we gutted them apart and made the dining tables. And then James Caan, I think it's his first movie, called Red Line 7000, that had a race car drivers club where everybody was playing with little slot car tracks, and we integrated that into the scenery. And then in Quentin's one paragraph description of the set, it said it had a dance floor that was a working tachometer. So it was this auto theme, race car theme, hamburger stand kind of thing. And so we took all these ideas and just blended them together, and it really truly was a recognizable piece of scenery that people still comment on. 50% of the movie was scenery on a stage, and 50% was practical locations.
Any other sets that come to your mind that were memorable?
Well, that was of course the biggest.
That's
The other
ones,
the other big ones we built were.
We built the interior of the hotel room because it was working with Bruce Willis for a week. We did it, and we didn't want to have them be in a really scrappy hotel room. We built the interior of the hotel room. We had the Olympic Arena, which is where they shot Rocky. We had them hold the renovation for us to get walking down the hallways. So the Olympic Arena was used for the practical hallways, and when you go in to introduce Bruce Willis, that was a little fitting room or change room. Locker room. All those rooms were tiny, and we had to make it bigger. So it was a big cross-section of all these little sets that kind of fit into all of the practical locations.
That's good.
Was Marcellus's and Mia's apartment there too?
No, that was a contemporary house. Again, we really try hard to try to find something that has never been used before in a movie, and this was never used before. It was a contemporary, modern Hollywood Hills view home that we looked at a lot, and Quentin liked that one, and we ended up using that one. There was a little vignette room that we did build on the stage, and that was the control room where the Travolta character comes into Marcellus's house, and she's sort of monitoring him
for the voice.
Through speakers and all. She's kind of at a control panel, and that was built in the warehouse.
The hell was that?
Car crash in the front of the Eric Stoltz character. We picked a small vernacular bungalow, and we had to add a porch, which then John Travolta's Chevy Malibu crashes into. And then the other kind of interesting set was the basement of the pawn shop. Pawn shop was a practical location, and that was in the San Fernando Valley, and there are no basements in the San Fernando Valley, so we
right.
had to build a little torture. And these were all kind of labyrinths together. There were two warehouses that were behind the production office, and they were rather large. One was almost like the size of an airplane hangar, and that was the Jackrabbit Slim set. And then on the other side of the wall was this labyrinth of motel room, locker room, basement of the pawn shop, and a lot of other little tiny sets. So they're all in one building, and then in the front of that building was the offices where Quentin had his office. So what was really nice about that, it was Quentin was able to monitor what we were building and was able to kind of walk through all of these things as they were being built. And again, from a producer standpoint, it was thought out in a way that there were no surprises for the director. We were doing things together. It's now 10 years since we did that movie, and it holds up very well.